at Kajun Roots Reselling, you give me an offer and I'll take it.
I say, this is Johnny's place, where you can have it for no problem. I got the dollars.
Fixed income, no credit, bad credit. Here at Kajun Roots Reseller, that's no problem.
Let them have it.
I've got my dollars and I sit in my best offer.
We say yes. See the special man. The easiest man on YouTube.
You got the dollars? We got the offer? Let them have it with no problem.
Hello, good morning, and welcome on this Tuesday morning. As people know it as Taco Tuesday. How's everybody doing today? Let me get the change of the layout here real quick. I'll still have it set up from bingo last night. I didn't change it. Ain't that new? Let's see who's first in the chat, which was Irene. Hello, good morning, and welcome, and how are you doing? Good to see you. Yes, we got a lot of snow. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that a little later. Living my best life at 60. Hello, good morning, and welcome. And Tina, hello, good morning, and welcome. And Jeannie, hello, good morning, and welcome. Gina. Oh, what's that, Jeannie? It's Gina. And Didi, hello, good morning, and welcome. And Michael, hello, good morning, and y'all. Welcome, good to see y'all. Stacy, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see y'all. Let's see. King Om, hello, good morning, and welcome. And I hope you get to feeling better and get back to your normal routine. Good to see you. Glad to see you here in the morning. And there's Jennifer already dropping those links, y'all. Check out these links. Check out everybody, see if you are subscribed. And if you're not, and you like that content, don't forget to hit the notifications of all, subscribe, but most importantly, go back, watch their videos, and leave comments. Speaking of videos, Jennifer's been dropping videos, so y'all go check her out as well. Purple Wings, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see you. Robin, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how you doing? Miss Pam, hello, good morning, and welcome. And there's the link for Leslie's Lucky Finds. It's me, Angie. Hello, good morning, and welcome, Angie. And I had to tell you, I got the package in yesterday, and I gave the coin to Robert because he collects those foreign coins. So, and he loved it. He'll have it. So now he do. Thank you very much. It came in yesterday. All right, let's see here. Let me go over the calendar real quick. But before I do that, I want to drop Jennifer's link because she never dropped her own links, y'all. You know what I'm saying? She drops y'all links, but she never drops her own. So, with that being said, here's her links. If you haven't checked out her videos, she does have more videos coming out. She has been putting out some videos, so definitely check her out. And also here is her Etsy store link. Everything that she usually throws out through the videos, she does list them on her Etsy store. There's her link for that, as well as, again, holidays are always coming around. You're always going to need a gift for someone, somewhere, somehow. So check her out. Support her that way as well. And here is her Buy Her Milkshake. There you go. All right. And also, I just saw Mark, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see you. All right, today's calendar of events. Starting at 9 o'clock is Silver Hair Stacker Tide goes live at 9. 9:45 is Jobby's Laughing and Listing Show. At 10 o'clock is Save Here First Ella with her variety show. It's always an auction. And then at 10 o'clock, you also have Stacy May W. Catitudes, where she does her crafting. If you have not seen it, it's always cool to see how she does her different crafting, especially when she does the diamond arts. Definitely check that out. Then at 10 o'clock is also the Rita, the Buddha Chick, where she does her live daily devotions at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock is Leslie's Lucky Finds with her auction, 11 o'clock. At 11:30 is Jackass Retro, where he does 7 days a week. He does his packing and shipping and questions and answers about ephemera. 12 o'clock today is Two Hip Chicks, Dawn and Mary go live. And at 2 o'clock is Southern Syrian Vintage, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but she just added, she sent me an email asking me to message to add her, and it's at 2 o'clock today. And then at 6 o'clock is Kathy's Corners Bingo. At 6:30 is Janine's with New England Thrifter Helen. At 6:45 is I Spy Queen Anitra. And at 7 o'clock is Dawn's channel with Jane Newhouse on Dawn's channel, and that's at 7. At 7 o'clock, I was asked to add this for the next 5 days. at 7 p.m., Reseller Rowboat will be on live where she's doing a 5-day plus size top sale. So check her out. She'll be going live starting tonight, 5 days in a row. And then at 8 o'clock is Caucasian Sasquatch. At 8 o'clock is also Rat Stash, Rat Chat. I haven't seen them in a while, so I hope they are still doing okay. 9 o'clock is Vintage Jewels, Gems, and Pearls with Margie. And in the night is 12 o'clock with Steph Self Stuff by the Seashore. Say that several times fast. So again, if you haven't heard your name and your channel that are on the calendar and I didn't know or didn't say your name, please do me a favor and go down to the second post in the community tab. Yes, it is the second post. And you can go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know, and I'll be glad to add you to the calendar. We have had people email me, but I prefer the messaging because that way I can immediately, it's kind of activity to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Orby, hello, good morning and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see you. Ori, let's see who else. Thank you, Jennifer, for dropping those links. And now what we're going to do is if you have questions and you've been thinking about getting into eBay on another platform for reselling, you have come to the right place because every Tuesday we do this called Q&A, all about eBay. Hello, Lisa. Hello, good morning and welcome. So without further ado, we're going to bring on the person who does this with us every Tuesday when he can make it. And also, hello, Buying Space Mara. Hello, good morning and welcome. Take Josie's Place Dollar Tree Challenge. I heard about that yesterday. What is that? The Dollar Tree Challenge video out later this week. Off to shop. Okay. That's the second time I hear about that. I think I heard about it yesterday too. So anyway, without further ado, if you have your questions, get them ready because we're going to bring on none other than the Bargain FX. And I always know him as Tommy 2.0 from the date go when I first met him on the YouTube. And here is Tommy.
Hey. Good morning. What's that?
How's the weather down where you at? Well, up where you at?
Cold, -1 degree right now.
I'm so glad we still 33 degrees, Joe. And it's snowing.
It's
Speaking of snow, we already got 12 inches from 7 o'clock last night to 7 o'clock this morning, and we got snow all day long, guaranteed to supposedly that we're going to get 18 to 24 inches.
Man, that's
too
much. This winter can go away.
I brought chai outside last night at 7 o'clock. I was like, oh, it's snowing. And it never stopped. It's like, okay, it's early. They said it was going to be today, but it was last night. Mark says, I heard of eBay. Sometimes I use it as a reference tool for inflating prices. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Good to snowing here. Yeah, it's going to be all day affair, and it won't end until tomorrow. So Robert's going to be working today and tomorrow from home. So yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I know you don't like to be big, but only for this portion. Please tell everybody a little bit about yourself. And for those who may live down south, you might want to see if maybe somebody else is going to be down there that you could probably meet up with while you're down there visiting. Tell everybody a little about yourself and what you got going on this week coming up.
Yeah, well, I'm just Tommy 2.0 and just your average eBay reseller specializing in decal graphics right now. And yeah, this coming week, we're going to be heading down to the Decatur, Alabama area. So if anybody's in that area would like to get together, meet up, it'd be really cool. We got a couple of people that we plan on connecting with on the way down. So we're open. Reach out and get a hold of me, bargaineffect.com or
I have to say, I've had the honor to meet you and know family, and we had spent days together, the times together. So yeah,
it was good times. Good times.
Yeah, I even brought the special donuts from our area that y'all didn't know about. Oh, they were so good too.
Yep, those were good.
All right, so if you're new to eBay or you're thinking about getting into eBay, you have any questions about eBay, I know there's been some emails that I kind of shared last week in reference to some updates that were happening for eBay, which eBay is always updating something when it comes to that. So the first thing I want to talk about is questions that I had somebody who's been contacting me getting started on eBay. And so I've been trying to guide them in the best way that I can and talk about the things that I do. But everybody does their ways of doing listings and things like that differently. Hello, Giovanna. Good
morning.
Giovanna. I always say her name wrong. It's like the candy, Giovina. No. Geneva. Like the Geneva Convention. Let's see. Margie, hello, good morning and welcome. One of the first questions I'm going to ask about is in reference to when somebody is doing their listing. And you're Geneva. Yeah, I don't know why I always do that. I do that. I get a brain freeze, like a squirrel moment.
Get it right, Johnny. Get it right.
And they put it in the chat correctly every time after I have a mess. Now, sometimes I just say it without even thinking. When you're doing listings and you choose when you're in the portion of mailing and filling out the information about your package for shipping, what are some of the tips that you can give somebody when it comes to that portion of listing your item?
Okay, well, when I started out, what I did is I pre-packed just about everything because I didn't want to screw up. And in the beginning, you're gonna lose money on shipping. Not really lose money, but you're not gonna save what you can. When it comes to shipping, it's just something that is learned over time. So what I did is I pre-packed everything, so I had my dimensions and my weight, and figured out what it was going to cost to ship. That's what I would suggest doing. I know some people take their item and they say, okay, this box is going to go in approximately, they'll measure the item and say, okay, well, the items, we'll take the coffee cup, for instance, it's 5 inches wide by 6 inches tall. So it's probably going to go in like a box that's 8 by 8, but I wasn't comfortable with that because I'd find out, well, by the time I get the bubble wrap on it and then I put some peanuts around it, now it's actually going to go into a 10-inch high box. And sometimes that 1 or 2 inches can jack your price up.
Yep.
So I suggest pre-packing. Figure out how you're going to ship it and pack it up. You don't have to like seal it up and everything, but so you have your total weight and dimensions is what I'd suggest.
Now, I had suggested something to someone who asked me this question. So what is your thought, or what do you feel when it comes to not only doing your setting up for your packaging? Because again, you want to put, especially if you're doing like calculated shipping, you want to do all the sizes and dimensions. But what about that you can do up to the amount of choices to let a customer pick what they want to choose for shipping, rather it be, say, it's under £1, so you got either first class, ground, and things like that. Talk a little bit about that, and what is your max that you use for that portion to let a customer pick?
Okay, well, like we'll say for our decals, for instance, we have 3 shipping options. We have our free first class, then we do offer a priority shipping for people that just want it that little bit faster. And then we do offer, rarely ever, I think we've gotten like 2 sales with it over the last couple of years, where they'll actually pay for a next day express delivery. I would suggest at least doing 2. If you have something that's first class, offer first class, but give them that priority option. And if it's, over £1 and it's got to ship priority, then put that overnight option in there. I know eBay likes it when you give them options. And if it's a bigger item, like if I was shipping out a stereo receiver, I will give them the options between UPS, FedEx, and the post office.
Right.
And, I kind of try to give them as many options as possible.
Yeah, because I know there's you can fill in that up to 4 choices.
Right.
And it's always good that way the customer can pick what they feel is best for them when it comes to setting up your shipping, because you want them to be able to pick. If they're not in a rush for it, then yeah, they can let it go ground or something like that. All right, we do have a question from New England Thrifter. How many listings is good to start with?
Okay, this is where I differ from a lot of people. A lot of people feel you have to list. Get, you'll have people that'll say start out with at least 10 or start out with 25, or everybody has a different opinion on it, I think. And a lot of people too are like, you gotta list every day. And I'm one of the rare people that disagree with that. I don't think it's about your quantity of listings. It's the quality of listings. If you start out and you list 100 pieces of garbage, it's not going to do you any good if you starting out with 3 items that people want. So I can't really say that there's a number. I don't think the number of what you start out with is as important as the quality of your item and your listing.
Right.
And even if you have a good item, it's the quality of the listing. If you don't have good pictures, if you don't have a good title, if you don't have a good description, it's not going to get found. So if you're just trying to hurry up and list a bunch of items to fill up your store, or if you don't have a store when you're starting out, and fill up your 50 free listings, if they're not quality items, they're not going to move. And when I say quality items, I don't mean that your product itself is bad. I mean all the way down to like your listings, your titles, your shipping options. Work on that quality of listing.
And again, it also depends on the person, because not everybody's the same. Something that may work for you may not work for me, and vice versa. So you want to do something that you're comfortable with. But I have another question to follow that up, but I do see some statements in the chat I want to cover. Michael says, if you are new, eBay will cap your amount of listings so you can do all at one time until you start making sales. They are steadily approving you to list more, normally 5. Yeah, you do have that limit when you first start out.
I would say your first 60 to 90 days are the toughest on eBay, because they want you. I do believe it is 5 now that they limit you to, and they do want you to make a sale or two, but then they'll bump you up. I got a buddy here that got bumped up after 2 weeks from 5 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like another 2 weeks when he did his 30-day store review, he got bumped up to 50. And even with the, what is it, the starter or whatever, you get 50 free listings, but you still have that cap.
Yep.
That they start you out with.
Yeah, because I think I started with 50. And then after I got all my stuff listed that I wanted to list, but I only listed so much a day because I want to build that up. One of the things too is when you're selling things, be able to ship it as soon as possible, even though your handling time maybe 1, 2, 3 days. Try to get it out as soon as possible, because that's gonna start making you look better, because you are shipping it quicker than they expected. So then they get it quicker than they expect.
Absolutely.
Steph says only list as many as you can handle shipping if they sell to start with. And when that's true, you got to only do what you can handle, especially if you're doing it part-time and just starting out.
Yeah. And I was gonna go on that. It also depends, like you said, it depends on the person. If you're just a hobbyist seller, or you're trying to clean out your attic, you're going to approach that differently than the guy that says, okay, a year from now, I want this to be my full-time income.
Right.
So there's a difference, and it varies from person to person, situation to situation.
Yeah, because I know when they raised me up to 250, I basically had everything that I brought from my recycle, but from the purge that I did from moving. The only thing I had left was this one crate, and they were all brand new sealed Barbie dolls that I got from a storage unit. I called eBay and they asked me, like, okay, what do you plan on trying to list? And I told them. They even bumped me to 500 so I can get those Barbie dolls listed, because I did call and say they looked at my file, that if you're shipping on time, you're doing your listings, and another thing, you have to make sure if you get emails from your customers through eBay, answer them in a timely manner, because all that looks good for you to become top seller.
Yeah, eBay actually has a ranking score on how fast you respond to messages from your customers.
Susie Woozy says they gave me 250 free, but I had to wait for product acceptance to get money on my first month. Yeah.
Yeah, there will be a hold on your money.
How long do you have to wait to cancel an order for a non-payment?
I don't know what it is anymore.
5 to 7 days.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a non-payment. I can't even remember. It's been so long. I'm pretty fortunate to where all my customers pay pretty quick.
One last week happened, and I checked every day. And usually, if you go into your the item that's sold, there's a little drop box, and if you open that little drop box, it'll tell you cancel. When you go to hit the word cancel, it'll up and give you choices. If you don't see that choice of cancel because of non-payment, do not cancel it until then, because you're actually giving them a ding on their account because they didn't pay. But usually it's within 5 to 7 days, usually, is when I start looking for it. Is that 5 per day or just 5 until they have sold?
It would be 5 total listings. So if you're on a limit of 5 and then 1 sells, then you could replenish it with 1.
Yeah. Just got here, so sorry it already had been answered. Nope, you're good, girl. You good.
No.
We just answered it for you. All right. If you can partner with a top-rated seller and they call in eBay with you, eBay remove the cap. Just FYI, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
What's up, Philly Flipper?
And my buddy, like I said, the one that's here in town that started selling, he actually asked me to do that. He was like, well, maybe you could, because you got a rapport and we have the concierge service. He's like, maybe you could talk to them for me. And I actually told him, even though he's my friend, I was like, no, I can't do that, because if you screw up on eBay, that's going to reflect on me.
Yeah. But how would you do that? I don't understand how you would just call in for that person, or
I'm gonna call in and say, hey, I'm Tommy 2.0. I have the Prince by TBE store, and can you give Johnny a few more listings? I mean, I don't know how you do it.
Philly Flipper says, Tommy in the flesh every Tuesday.
What up?
How you doing? Long time no see. How you been? Let's see. The Queen, Jennifer Hayes. Yep, she is. Constantly dropping them links. Miss Sweet Tea, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Lissa, hello. What's that make me that, Polly? Not sure. Des, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Jello.
What up?
I just got a whole bunch on eBay yesterday. Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, she's fairly new at eBay.
Is she?
Taking the plunge, yeah.
There you go.
Doing it. Let's change harmony. Let's see here. Let's everybody saying hello. Dawn, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see you. You both have to be on the phone, and you advise eBay that the new seller is associated with you. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
See, I'd have to have a whole lot of faith to associate another seller's thing with me, because I'm just weird like that, I guess, because I look at it as, if I go and I vouch for you to eBay and you screw up, they're never going to listen to me again, And
that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, could be wrong, but that's.
Well, but that, to me, it's like almost like if you co-signing for somebody for a loan, and if something happens, are they going to come back on you because you the one that referred them and said they're good,
Right.
Okay. Hello, Kathy. Hello, good morning, and welcome. So yeah, if you have any questions about eBay, more than welcome to ask in the chat, either by putting the question in capital letters or even putting at Kajun with a Q, so I know that's a question that you want to ask. I'm trying to check everybody as you come in with comments. We want to make sure we get your questions answered. Hello, Wendy. Wonder Woman.
I just want to, while we're waiting on some questions to come in, I want to do a poll on what we were talking about right before the show, Johnny. Mm-hmm. How many people are experiencing like a downtime on their eBay
within the last week and a half?
Yeah. I noticed over the last month a lot of people on YouTube talking about upgrades. Their sales have dropped off, sometimes only for a couple of days, maybe for a week. We actually are fortunate. Our sales have massively jumped over the last month, but I also been doing some algorithm experiments, and I don't know if we're just lucky or if it's working. But I'm just curious who's experiencing some sort of slowdown that they don't feel is a fault of their own. Like, don't say, well, I haven't had no sales, but I haven't listed anything in 2 weeks either.
Then then we know the answer for that one. Right. Let's see here. Saw Wendy say me. Patrick said, where it went, Patrick? Right here. I doubt if anybody would vouch for me, watch me, LOL. Okay, Wonder Woman said me. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. My 90-day total is trending upward. That is awesome.
That is awesome. That's what I am. When when I'm looking at my stats. I always want to see them numbers in the green. I always want to see that there's an increase.
So while we're looking to see if how many, because the last week and a half to 2 weeks, they've been doing updates. Things like updating and adding the global shipping, changing the international shipping to global shipping. They're going to be doing that with a lot of your listings. You may see that within a couple of weeks, you may see changes where you're going to go to list something and you will see now global shipping instead of international shipping. They're just basically changing all that. So they're going through all your items. And that's why he was asking, because we had that conversation before the show about that, because some people are having that problem where their sales are low this last couple of weeks. And is it because of the updates? Usually it is, but are you listening too? Tina says, is it better to have one category or varieties available for eBay store?
We have, I think so. I think like if you're selling clothes and then you have electronic goods, and then you have knickknacks, or home decor, I would create categories and separate them out, because if I'm going into your store and I want to see what you have for extra large t-shirts, I don't want to look at a Hummel. I just want to see your t-shirts. So if you have a category, I can click on clothing, t-shirts in a subcategory and just see what I'm looking for. I would suggest categories, most definitely.
Your next question, Tommy 2.0.
Oh,
how many orders do I have on Facebook and are they printed out?
Facebook's only got 4 this morning, and no, they're not printed out yet.
I love her question marks before, and then she says, Tommy 2.0. It's got nothing to do with sales. It's all about the service and the website crashes. And I saw right here, Philly Flipper said the same thing. When the server works, my sales are good. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I haven't experienced anything that I would say it's probably a server issue. About a month and a half ago, I was having an issue with running my promoted listings. It just wouldn't process them. It kept hanging during the processing, and I got a hold to eBay for business on Marketplace, and they said, no, we're not experiencing any problems, but I'll forward it to the techs. And I woke up the next morning and they were working beautifully. So.
All right. Danny Miss says, it says that I can list up to 250 items a month, but then it says I only have 100 items that I can list. Is 250 items a month the total amount? Oh God, I remember this when I first started.
When you first start, there is a limit of the 250 items for, what is that? Not having a store, right? They give you the free it's been so long.
Yeah, the first basic, when you first get in.
Right, they give you the 250 listings, but you have that limit cap on top of that until you build a rapport. You get some sales, you get some feedback, and then your amount will go up. So you can actually get approved to list more than that 250. But if you're just at that starter store, you're only going to get those 250 for free, and then you'd have to start paying per listing after that.
Right. Now, one of the things I had to learn, because I was confused with that when I first started. Again, I had 50, then they upped me up to 500. One of the things you got to remember, if you're listing that amount and you got to your 250 listings for the month, and you had the last week of the month, and you sold 100 pieces or 100 items, then you're down 100. So you're down 150. Well, guess what? You're not able to go back and list that 100 because you still have that limit for the month. You have to wait for the next month to come up. Then that'll recirculate. And then if you have, say, 250, 150 listed, then you'll be able to add another 100 until you get those levels lifted up. And that's how it worked at the beginning when I first started. So I couldn't figure out why I couldn't list more, but I had sold things, but my numbers were like, why I can't list anymore? So I had to call eBay, and they explained it to me that you do get that 250 limit. And if you reach that 250, but for the month is not over, and you start selling items and you're down, like say 150, you're still going to have to list the following month, because then that'll fall off and that'll give you 150 listings. So therefore, the following month you'll be able to list another 100 pieces. I hope that you understand that, if I said it correctly.
Yeah, it's a little confusing, but that's how it works. But just keep listing, keep selling, and you'll get those limits lifted up fairly quickly too.
And also, they will automatically. You don't have to even wait sometimes because they're watching your account, especially when you're new.
Right.
And they will automatically upgrade you to another level. Dawn says, mine are down, but I have not listed as much, although I tried to fix all these item specifics and eBay wasn't working properly last week. You right about that. I had some troubles listing last week too, but it was forever. Handicap traveler, hello, good morning and welcome. We got a question from Kathy. Question, as a person who purchased items, can you tell me what to look at that the seller is not worthy of buying from?
I would always look at their feedback. I mean, if you see you have a low feedback rating, I always dig in. I don't, just because somebody has a couple negative feedbacks, I don't always say, oh, I'm not going to buy from them. I look at what that feedback is, because sometimes it's because the package took an extra 4 days to get there, and that's not always the seller's fault. I mean, we get that with a lot. We ship out first class. They should have it in the 3 to 5 days. Sometimes it has taken up to 14 days for them to get it, especially recently for some reason. I don't know if it's with the postal changes or what, but sometimes it just takes longer, and it's not the seller's fault.
Right.
But now, if they sent the item, it was packed poorly, or if it was clothing and it came dirty or smelled, then I would approach with caution.
Yeah. Laura, that's correct. They were doing updates. And so some people did see the difference in their sales in the last week or so because of those updates. And usually, I think what's happening, because I did get the email, I think we talked about it this past Monday of last week or during the week last week when I got the email. They were doing a major update on the shipping when it came to international shipping. They were changing it to the global shipping or their new shipping for international. So you may see a difference in that because they're changing all your products. And you'll see that when you go to start listing new items as well. Let's see. I'm still glad that I joined eBay about way back and never had to get an account limit. Good morning, Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've been on it so long. I'm not even super familiar with the beginning restrictions, other than from what I hear from other people where they're at, because I don't think I had I just listed and never had restrictions, didn't have the money hold, didn't have any of that.
Well, I remember when I first started, I had it once, and it was right almost at the 90-day mark and the limit of sales. I think it was $1,000 in sales or 100 sales or whatever it was. I couldn't understand why the whole time I never had anything on hold. And all of a sudden, here I am getting that 90-day mark, and all of a sudden I have a hold on my money. So I had to find out what was going on. Did I do something wrong? And they said, no, that's because you're subject to have that money on hold at any given time on that whole 90 days, $1,000 sales or 100 items sold within or whatever comes first.
See, I've had the Bargain Effect store forever. And then when we started doing the decals and we created that, and it was still going through PayPal had put a hold on it. But when we had to call for whatever reason, some dispute or something. And then when I talked to them and they realized I was associated with the Bargain Effect account, I'm the same person. They took that hold away instantly, because I already had a sales history on another store. They just didn't put it together that it was the same person, even though all your account information's in there.
Danny May has a question. When is it worth to get a store? I cannot do much from my phone to have a store like doing sales.
As far as the listing amount, there's a thing on Google. You can Google, like, when should I get an eBay store, because they'll actually have the numbers with how many listings you have, and you start paying per listing over your free listings to where it makes it worth getting a store. But you don't have to jump into a store. There's people like Craigslist Hunter. To this day, he doesn't have a store, and he's got thousands of listings.
And I didn't know that till last week when somebody said it.
Yeah, so it depends. I mean, if you want to run the sales and stuff like that, there are lots of benefits to having a store. You get a little bit of a fee break with a store depending on your level. You get the coupon that Johnny always talks about for your shipping supplies. So it's really up to the person to decide when they would want to get a store, depending on how they would utilize it.
Yeah.
There is a monthly fee associated with it. So, if you're only selling a few things here and there, it might not be worth it to have a store ever. But like I say, Craigslist, Pete, he's got tons of items and he still don't have a store.
Nope.
And you might not need to run a sale. I run sales all the time just to search in the ranking because we're in a competitive market with the decals. But with the hard goods, you might not have to run a sale. I just ran sales to push stale inventory. So if you got the right listings and the right product, you might not even need sales or promoted listings or any of that,
Paul says that feedback is a key. If you look at Daily Refinement's feedback, you would never know you should never buy. You should never buy.
I never looked at his feedback. I'm going to have to look at it now.
Interesting. So one of the questions I have next, well, I was going to read back from one of the other questions from earlier when you were talking about listings. In your title, because you did say you were talking about the titles of your listing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about because I know some people ask, should I do it in a sentence form? Should I use a punctuation marks? And should I have a sentence? What is the key when listing of what you should be listing in your title?
Don't use wasteful words. Use words. It doesn't have to read like a sentence or a title of a book or anything like that. You want to put as much of your product info as you can, and I would say your first 5 to 6 words are the most important. So I use all of the characters. What do they give you? 80 characters or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Try to use all of them, but don't just keyword stuff. Put valid, good information about your product. So if you're selling, say, I don't know, give me an example, Johnny.
I'm gonna do this because it's right here for me to grab. Yeah, Starburst original jelly beans.
Okay, so like if I was listing that's exactly what I'd put. Starburst original jelly beans and the bag weight. Those would be my key things that I put in. Then I might add in like various flavors.
There's the different flavors.
Yeah, the various flavors. Make sure you have the bag size on there,
which is right there. Now, what about all this other stuff? Should you include any of that stuff?
The what?
This information right here. Like any of this stuff?
I don't personally include it. What I will do is I will take a picture of that and add it into the pictures. What I will include in the title when I'm selling something like that is I will include the expiration date.
Oh.
I'll add the expiration date on anything that expires.
Oh yeah, I see it now. Okay, it's on the back of the bag. All right. Wonder Woman says, I have been waiting for 2.5 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, for a buyer to pay for an item. However, I did not resist and sent reminders. Well, that's a good question because I was going to ask about that question. Go ahead.
What? If it's been 2.5 to 3 weeks, I would cancel it. I would definitely cancel it.
Now, one of the things I will follow up with that, because you're sending reminders, that gives the buyer an additional 7 days to pay. So what I don't do is I don't send reminders. I don't send invoices. I wait to the first 5 days. Once I see that it has not been paid, and you go into that portion where you can go to return, cancel an item, and you see if it's available to cancel because buyer has not paid with no payment, I would do that, because now you can take that item and relist it.
Right.
And you get yourself another chance for somebody else to see it.
Right. Because while you're waiting for a non-payment, that especially if it's been that long, they're obviously not going to buy. Meanwhile, that item's tied up and nobody else can buy it either.
Now that brings me to my next question, because I know when I first started, I heard this a lot. When somebody like this purchases and Wendy's waiting patiently and she doesn't do anything about it, there was a myth that I heard. I don't know how true this is, because I don't follow that too much, because I just cancel when it's 5 days if they haven't paid. That some people may see that they have that same item listed on their store and they're actually holding yours so they can try to sell theirs first. Is that true in some cases?
I would believe it's possible, and there's probably some slick people out there that do that. Yeah, I would say it'd be very possible.
I'll never forget when I first started, I heard that a lot. So I'm always worried when I do have a non-payment. I used to send the reminders. I used to send the invoices. Then I learned that you giving that person additional 7 days before you can cancel that order.
Yeah. See, it's been so long since I've had a non-payment. But when I did, I used to give them 48 hours. I'd send one reminder, just because I understand things happen, things come up, and they may have legitly put it in their checkout and checked out, but said, okay, I'm at work right now. I seen it, so I grabbed it and I'll pay it when I get off. And for whatever reason, they forgot. So I'll do a courteous after 48 hours, send them one reminder. And if they don't respond with a sob story, then that's it. Then I'll wait for the time to run out and I'll cancel it. If they respond with a sob story, depending on the story, and I'll kind of look at their account and I'll decide if I'm going to give them. If they say, oh, something happened, my car broke and I don't get paid till week after next, maybe, depending on what it is, how valuable it is. And, I try to sell a lot of replenishables. So depending if I have more to sell too.
Right. It happened this past week for me twice. One sent me an email saying, and this was like a Friday, can I pay you on Monday? So I answered, sure. Why not? You just purchased it today. So yeah, I can wait till Monday. Well, Tuesday comes around. I didn't get no payment on Monday. So guess what I did? I went in, canceled it for non-payment, and I got it back and I relisted it. Then I had another one that actually ordered and wanted something. Then he realized that his wallet was stolen. And so he did send me an email saying, look, I do need to cancel it, and I will go back and buy it when I get my wallet and my credit cards, all this stuff. He gave me the whole story. So again, it does happen, but you got to take and read into, give some sympathy sometimes, but yeah.
Right.
Patrick says, with that being said, I think it's not correct that they take away negative feedback for a seller to leave for a buyer.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I mean, us as sellers, we're only allowed to leave positive. And I don't think that's fair. You know, I mean, there's crappy sellers out there, but there's crappy buyers too. And people should be able to be aware of that. If you look at a buyer, you can't tell if they're screwing people over or not, because you can't leave as a seller a negative feedback for a buyer.
Exactly. And then one of the things too, when you go to, and Robert accidentally did this and he didn't realize he did. If somebody cancels an order, don't give him a feedback. I don't, but Robert accidentally did, and he realized it was too late. Because once you leave a feedback, you cannot take it back.
Right.
But yeah, Danny May has a question. How many offers can you send to watchers until you can't? Is that per item, or when new watchers come on, can you send them offers?
Yeah, I think you can send offers, every 72 hours, right?
Well, you get, I think I know what her question is with that. Okay, for each item, for example, you get per person that's sending you offers. Each person, you get so many offers to send to that person, and they have so many offers limit to you. And I want to say maybe 7. I'm not 100% sure, but that is per person back and forth with offers. For example.
So if they send you an offer and you counter it, how many times can you go back and forth?
Back and forth with that buyer.
I believe, unless they changed it to like 7, I know it was 5.
Okay, it's either 5 or 7. I think
You
I just had one.
You each had 5 to go back and forth.
I think it was something like that. But again, it's per buyer. For example, Tommy sends you an offer. Then you and him both have that same amount of offers back and forth. But if I'm sending you the offer for that same item, then you and I have the same amount like Tommy would. So you do have it per person that's offering offer to you.
And one thing I'll say is there's a lot of people that say, oh, I get a lowball offer. I don't, some people go as far as blocking the people for the lowball offer. Other people, I don't even respond to a lowball offer. And I can't stress enough. Always respond. Even if you're not going to come down, just respond with a little note. If you have it on sale or something, we already have this on sale. We can't reduce the price anymore. And respond with your listing price. But always respond, because it's activity on your item. It shows eBay somebody's interested in it, even if they're trying to lowball you. And I've had so many times where I was going back and forth, maxing out the offer amount back and forth, and they'd go down in a number. It didn't make any sense. But then the item would sell to somebody totally different, because eBay was like, somebody's interested, so let's put this in front of a couple more eyes. And a lot of times I've had sales during lowball offers just by countering back and forth the max amount of times, because every interaction on your item counts as an interest action, even if it's the same person.
Okay, so when you said 5 as well.
So if you're going back and forth, that helps. If they send you an offer and you just ignore it or decline it, then that's just dead. You keep that activity back and forth, it's going to do nothing but help you.
Now, does that go towards your activities? Because don't you get like a percentage of 5% or less if you're not answering certain customers, for example, and you ignore them? Doesn't that hurt your numbers as far as your activity for your channel? For your
you always want to, anything that comes on you, whether it's an offer, whether it's a question, you always want to respond in some way, form, or fashion as quickly as you can, and it helps. It helps your account just as a whole.
Right. All right. Laura has a question in reference to, can store subscription be canceled if you decide to take an eBay break?
Okay. Well, you can get a store subscription in 2 different ways. You can get an annual subscription, which is a little bit cheaper per month. It's still charged per month, but you're committing to that year. So you get a few dollars off your subscription. Or you can do a monthly subscription, costs a little bit more, and you can cancel your subscription whenever you want. If you go with the annual one, then there's a penalty if you cancel early. And I think it's like 30% of the remainder of what you have left on your subscription. So if you run it for 6 months and then you say, no, the subscription's not working, or I want to quit eBay, you still have to pay 30% of your subscription fee for the next 6 months.
So make sure it's near or around the date of your annual or whatever your monthly is. If you just want to see what it's like to have a store and you're not sure you want to commit to that year, I would suggest pay the few extra dollars, get the subscription, pay the monthly subscription, do it for a couple of months to see if it's working for you. And if you like it, you can always say, okay, this is I like this. I want to save a few bucks, so now I'll commit to the annual, and you can go into the annual subscription. But if you go into the annual subscription, you can't back down into the monthly without penalties. Right. Now, with that in mind, can you, again, if you're not wanting that, like say, for example, I have the second to highest. So if I wanted to come down, for example, and then come down to a lesser level of a store, you can also do that, can't you? And then get credit for the difference.
I think the only time that you can go down in your levels without the penalties is on your subscription renewal date, or within what is it, 60 days, I think, of your
I thought it was
subscription renewal
30
date,
or 60, yeah.
you can go down without penalties.
Right.
But if say, okay, I decide today I'm gonna do a year subscription, and then in June I decide, no, I shouldn't have got the premium store, I should have got the basic store, you're still gonna have a prorated penalty there.
Right. And
You
no
can-
emojis or things like new, pre-owned, etc. Your item will automatically say that under the conditions.
Yeah, don't ever use emojis. Don't use words like awesome or adorable, because those aren't just words that people are searching for usually in products. And Jennifer is right. It's in your item specifics where it's going to say whether it's new or used or refurbished. So you don't want to have to use that in your title and waste that space. Use it for something more valuable to describe your product.
Next, Victoria says, in your title, put what you should use to search for an item. If you are using it, other people are most likely using those words to search also, or too.
Yep, I agree. I went through that with Destiny, actually, building the title. If you were to look for this item on eBay, how would you search for it? And that's what you should use, because most commonly that's what other people are going to think of. How am I going to, I want to buy something on eBay, what am I looking for? And the search terms, you don't write out a sentence when you're searching on eBay, you're putting in a few keywords to look for what you want to find.
Now, with that in mind, when searching for example, you're looking for a particular item to list, would it be also the thing that you can go into the search bar, start typing in your keywords, and then see what comes up in the drop box to see what people are looking for? Isn't that how the best way to do it?
I do that if I have something that I'm not sure how to title it. Yeah, you can go like you're going to search for it yourself, and eBay will kind of automatically fill in what other people have used for search terms, and that's a very good way to start.
Let's see. Alyssa said that she squeezes every space she can for the 80 characters. That's all you get is 80. So
yep, and
gotta make it
absolutely count. Use every bit of it.
2.5 to 3 weeks. I leave the eBay default off after 4 days. It canceled regardless if you have kept sending invoices. Huh.
Good to know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like when Johnny was saying that if you send a reminder, it gives them another 7 days. I wasn't aware of that either.
Yeah, if you're not getting a payment for an item, you can go into the actual listing, go to the Dropbox and tap on cancel order. But when you cancel it, when you go to cancel it, it comes up with the different choices, and you have to tell eBay why is it being canceled. Did the customer change their mind? Did they decide tell you they didn't want it? Non-payment. I think there's like 4 different choices you can pick.
Yeah, there's like non-payment, something wrong with the shipping address. There's a few different reasons.
Here's a good one. Patrick says, when and why do you capitalize the words? Do you cap all the words?
No, I capitalize the first letter of each word. I don't capitalize all of them, and I don't run it like a sentence where I just capitalize the first. I capitalize the first letter of each word.
Paul says that I don't have to cancel anymore because eBay cancels them automatically.
There you go.
There you go. Most of my items are listed at 180 days plus before they sell. How can I shave them down? Shave this down.
There's a few ways. I don't know what you're selling or what your titles or your pictures look like, but it could be the product. Finding better product is key to selling faster. If you're trying to sell things in a saturated niche, it's going to take longer. If your titling isn't right, your keywording isn't right, maybe it's not being found as fast. You're too far down the list. There's many ways, and it all depends on the listing, what the item is.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this next comment. She was replying to Victoria about her titles. I couldn't do that because I could see Danny Mae doing this. Thingakabob, thingy. I could see her doing that. That's pretty funny, Danny Mae. That would be something I could see her doing. Angela, hello, good morning, and welcome. Personalized, yeah, and that's just I can see her doing it. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello to each other. If you are doing buy it now listings and are concerned with a non-payment, you can always select immediate payments when doing your listings. Now, I did try something that somebody brought to my attention with that. Remember that if you send an offer, then yes, they have to pay immediately. But if they send you an offer and you accept that offer, then they have up 5 to 7 days to pay it. But go ahead.
Did you try what I told you to do?
Yes, I did.
Did it work?
Yes, it did.
All right.
And the reason I'm saying this is because Tom and I had this conversation. And so what I did was for a week, when I was getting offers into me, I would counter offer with the same offer they gave me because it was over the amount that I would be the lowest that I would take. And guess what? They paid immediately. But if I was to accept the offer as me accepting it, then that accepts me to say, okay, I can wait 5 to 7 days to get paid. So I tried it for a week and it does work.
Yeah. So if you do get an offer that you're willing to accept, counter it, do it as a counter offer, and just type in the message, I'd be more than happy to accept your offer, and then put that amount in there, and they will be required to pay immediately instead of waiting all that time.
And again, I did that only because Tom and I had that conversation. And I said, I'm gonna try this for a week. And sure enough, I got some offers in, and I counter offered with a message saying I'd be glad to take your offer of. And so yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Nora, hello, good morning, and welcome. In my mind, it was going to be equivalent of dodgeball. They can nail us, and we get to take it. Lisa, hello, good morning, and welcome. Boilermaker Rick, hello, good morning, and welcome. I think this is your first time here. How did you hear about the channel? Good morning, hello, and welcome to the Cajun Roots Family and Friends channel. Let me see if I am subscribed to you, and yes, I am. Oh, I know. I met you in Victoria's morning show, I think. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello and good morning. I still will leave feedback. Hit positive since it's my only option. Then highlight up chat box. Light up the chat box. Oh, thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people do that. They will leave it as a positive.
Yeah.
And then actually state what the negative that they feel. I don't personally do that just because I feel I just don't want to give them the positive mark, even though I'm writing something negative. In eBay's eyes, in a customer eyes that's looking at their feedback rating, unless they go in and actually read it, it's still a positive that I don't want to give them.
This channel right here, Tip of the Mid Flips. I just watched the video of him yesterday. There he is in the chat today. I actually met him through Robert watching his channel a lot, and we do watch a lot of recaps on the weekend. If you and he's got his own way of doing things, and again, everybody needs to find their level of what they want to do on eBay. He has his own, and I tell you one thing, it's amazing. I was watching him talking yesterday about an offer, like when he buys like VCRs and combos and stuff like that. Go watch his channel. He's really a lot of information. Everybody does things differently, but you can also learn from others, and that's one you might want to learn from. I've been watching him for quite a while. And he just started recently coming into the shows. I do leave comments on his channel as much as I can. And yeah, definitely go watch it. Pretty cool.
Right. I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah. Cha-Ching King came out with a video on ways to respond to questions on eBay. I'm a lady of many words. Yeah, we know that one.
Yeah. I just watched that video with Cha-Ching King, and he actually even has a downloadable kind of like sheet that gives you generic responses to the various different questions that are answered properly. It's a good video. I definitely go look it up.
I didn't say that. Let's see here. You can abbreviate certain words to save characters. Example, VT for vintage. People search vintage will be able to see the listings with VT in the title. I never thought of that.
You can, and vintage is probably one of the ones because that's kind of a universal known shortcut. But there's people that do like the EUC for excellent use condition and stuff like that. And for one, that's a waste of space because it's already in your item specifics that it's used, and you can put that it's an excellent condition in your description. But when you put the EUC, we as resellers know what that means. When you put the NIB, we know it's new in box. We as resellers know what that means. But most of the customers, that's just foreign, and they think it's an ID number or something. I don't really think people go and search EUC woman's blouse. They don't do it.
Right.
When I first started, I had no idea what those things meant. I thought they were a stock number or an inventory location, or something.
But that's just a waste of your characters.
Right. That's what I say.
In your product condition.
Right.
All right. Tina says, do you advertise your eBay store on social media?
Yes, we drive a lot of traffic. 37% of our traffic comes from Twitter alone. And then, the more I should utilize YouTube more to drive traffic, and Instagram's not as desktop friendly, so I don't use it as much because I'm on my computer way more than the phone. But they say, and according to Gary Vee, TikTok is where you should be marketing right now because that's where everybody's at.
Yeah. What is ECU?
Excellent used condition.
And a lot of the stuff that Paul's saying in the chat, by the way, you can set that up in your account before you actually start listing things. This will be something automatically. So you want to make sure you set those kind of things up in your account.
Yep. And that can be found in your account site preferences.
Yeah.
Most of those settings.
And that's so true. When you're filling out the title, you have to think of like a buyer, not a reseller.
Right. Exactly.
I'd flip that. Hello, good morning, and welcome and resell therapy. What does it stand for, Chuck? Ooh, Chuck. Resell therapy. Hello, good morning, and welcome. All right, so I don't see any other questions or statements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be dropping again. As y'all know, Jennifer does not drop her own links. So I'm going to drop her links, and then I'm going to drop the link to the show for you if you would like to come on and join us about the topic with eBay. You're more than welcome to come on. I do ask that you please, and I just clicked on Jennifer's link, and I was trying to copy it. You're more than welcome to come on. I do ask that you have your camera on so I can verify that it is you. And we won't be on much longer because I do have a 10 o'clock members only live today. We will be talking about and promoting an auction for all those members of the channel. All right, and there's all of Jennifer's links. And so I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to the channel live show. If you would like to come on and be on the panel with us, you're more than welcome to. Like I said, you do need to make sure you do have your camera on so I can verify that it's you. And then if you're one of those that don't like your camera on, you're more than welcome to take it off after that. All right, so the link should be momentarily pinned to the top in a blue box, and there will be the link. So again, with the topic of all about eBay today, we do have this every Tuesday. If you have any questions, please make sure you do ask in the chat by writing the word question in capital letters or even at Cajun Roots with a Q. That way I know you have a question. So for those that are just starting out new, what would be some of the tips you would give them?
Okay, let me address Wonder Woman's question or statement here first, real quick. She says, I've heard that listing 10 picks versus 5 is always better. Absolutely. The more pictures that, I mean,
right here.
Yeah, the more pictures you can do of your item, it shows more details, whether it's flaws or coloring, depending on what it is. If it's a knick-knack, different angles, the more pictures are always better. Always. And I know that the sweet spot used to be to list at least 6. But now since eBay has jumped up the amount that you can list, I don't know if that sweet spot jumped as well. But I try to list as many pictures as possible without duplicating the same picture. Like I'm not going to take a picture of my microphone at this angle and then take it at this angle. But I'll take it at this angle, this angle, this angle, that angle. You know,
right. That's like a new item too. You want to make sure you get as many as you can, especially if it's in a new box, a new sealed box. You want to make sure if there's any damage, you're covering that as well.
And then as far as tips, if you're just getting started or you don't know where to start and you're thinking about getting started, the best tip I can tell you is get a hold of somebody that knows. There's many of us out there that are more than willing to help. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to Johnny, but get a hold of somebody, because sometimes trying to figure it out yourself and going on Google or going on YouTube, you're going to get many different answers, and you might not find the answer that's going to pertain to your particular situation. So just reach out to somebody. I can be found Instagram, Twitter, thebargaineffect@gmail.com is the email, Facebook, and reach out. Other than that, just get started. If you're thinking about it, do it. You know, one of my favorite quotes, like I have right here, Johnny, this is one of my favorite ones right here. Do it now. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. You actually have to do it.
Where was it?
Hey, I got somebody in the back room. Can they come in?
Sure.
Do you got it? Do you got to see your picture first?
No.
Make sure, sir.
I know who it is. Danny May wants to know, what do you do on TikTok to promote eBay?
I hate TikTok, so I'm not going to be able to help you out much there.
I'm not a TikToker.
I don't know. I would suggest, if you want to know, go on TikTok and search eBay and see what comes up. But according to Gary Vee, you can market anything on TikTok. So I don't know if maybe it would be just making a short and scrolling through your listings, or maybe kind of do a preview while you're taking a photo. Take a short video and say it's going to be available on eBay with a link to your store or something. That's how I would suspect, and I would do it.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Cool Ranch Doritos and Vintage Jewels are here. Oh, they come back and forth.
Who in chat knows who this is? She just walked
Does
in my
anybody
house.
know what's the screen name that she uses in the chat, and what's her real name?
She just walked in and sat down. I'm trying to figure out who knows her.
I do. It better be Dez. And not an imposter.
Hey.
So if you were in the chat earlier, she was in the chat. The Shamrock Pixie, and that's Dez. She was in the chat a little earlier, just waking up with her first cup of coffee. So again, if you have any questions, join us on the panel, you're more than welcome to come on in. Again, every Tuesday is Q&A all about eBay. Now, as far as the eBay is concerned, Des, you're the one that does the most of the things on there. Do you do the listings, or do you handle the sales side?
Oh, she's the laborer.
I do the labor.
I do all the listings. I do all the back end promotions and playing with the algorithms, and she does the actual work.
The work, shipping it out, making sure everything's good. If an address doesn't make sense, then I just message Tommy because I work down in the dungeon now. The dungeon is my domain. I kicked him out.
He's not in the dungeon anymore?
No.
She's in the dungeon.
In Minnesota.
We're not in Minnesota, but we're neighbors. We're right here, central Wisconsin, by the Dells.
So if you're not sure of their information, if you go in the description bar below, Jennifer's been dropping it in the links in the chat. But in the description bar below, you do have their YouTube channel, their eBay store. You can reach Tommy on Instagram, and any other information is in the description bar below. By the way, for those who don't know Tommy, What have you started doing that now that you're going to be kind of taking the turn on your YouTube channel on what you're doing with eBay?
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing on my Bargain Effect channel. I'm gonna start doing a lot of eBay from the ground up, store reviews. So if you're like not sure and you're like, I'm not getting sales, maybe it's my store, maybe it's my product, reach out to me and I'll go over your store. And I'm not claiming by any means to be an expert, but I do sell a lot, so I know some things. So I'd be more than willing to share. If I think your titles are a little short, or you just got the wrong words for the product, or your pictures are too, I'll kind of give you some advice on what might be able to help you out as far as your store. And I'm going to document that. The ones that are going to let me, I do have people. The ones that don't care if I put it on YouTube, I'm going to do a review. I may share whose store it is, who it isn't. It's up to the person. And then you'll kind of get an idea what to look for and kind of how to set up your store, or how to keyword. Like if they say they just happen to have a not so good title, I'll make suggestions on what I feel would be better titling, or what's wrong with their pictures. They're fuzzy, too busy in the background, or description. You'd be surprised. Now, a lot of buyers don't read the description, but you still need to have one. If anything, especially if you're selling used items and there's flaws, you definitely want to have a description to put those flaws in there, because I'm surprised how many items I see listed that don't have a description, or they just have a very short description that'll say used large men's t-shirt. And it's like, you need to tell them a little bit more than that, and it'll protect you with eBay if they come back and say, oh, well, there was this flaw and you didn't put it in the description. You didn't disclose that. So now you're obligated to an item is not described in a forced return, where if you put, say there's some pilling, or there's a stitch coming loose or something, you're covered. They bought it. You described it.
Now, I have this question with this statement here, but also when doing your descriptions, especially if it's not new, it's a used item. One of the things, and I would like your opinion on this, because this is what I do. I will describe the condition. If there's any damage, say it's a package that has maybe shelf life, or it has a stain or something. I always also put it not only in the condition box, but also put in capital letters, please see photos for any whatever in the pictures.
Yeah, I do that. If there's a flaw, make sure you mention it, very detailed. You're way better off making the flaw sound worse than it is than not describing it accurately, and then they get it and they're like, wow, this. And you make sure you add a picture of the flaw. And I used to do the same thing, see pictures, and then I would, if I'm describing the flaw, I'd be like, see the fifth picture for details. If something's got a scratch on it, or there's something wrong with the item, always photograph it. Don't try to glamorize your item and hide your flaws, because that's just going to bite you in the end.
Yeah,
Very much so.
Just saw it right here.
Absolutely.
Steph says she never purchases from a seller who does not have a description.
Right.
Me neither.
Got to use it.
Morning, Bama. We're going to be down in your neck of the woods this weekend.
Yes,
My
we
question
are.
with this statement, I noticed pretty regularly, because I have purchased from y'all before through your eBay store. But besides putting a business card or something in the package for a thank you note, talk a little bit about the advertisement portion as far as your repeated customers or people who have purchased from you before. What are one of the things that you do? I know the answer because I get them in my email, for those who have purchased from you before, for your customers.
Yeah, for our repeat customers, we send out coupons, and it drives a lot of return customers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good way to remind your customer, hey, you bought from us, you liked it, we appreciated you buying from us. here's a little discount. There's 5% coupons. You know, we'll save you 5%. Come back, buy from us again. You know, and we add a business card to every order,
and we send out how to apply your decal in your order as well.
We send out instructions,
which is fun.
The descriptions of feedback and 0 returns and more valuable than the cost of the
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. I sell my comic books at undergrade 8 out of 10 times. I get a better comment.
Yeah, they would much rather receive an item that's in better condition than they expected than in worse.
Correct. Because that can hurt you for your feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing you don't want, is getting a feedback saying that the item was not as described in your listing. That's the worst thing you want. All right, so yeah, the link is up there if you would like to come on. We're going to end the show because I do have a 10 o'clock live for members only. So you're more than welcome to come on and jump on right now if you would like to chit chat and have any questions or anything that has to do with the topic for the day of Q&A all about eBay. And if you have any questions, please make sure you do ask in the chat.
I do want to address 2 things. One, I don't know if she's still in here. Babbles, I think is who it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so she made a comment that she could listen to Tommy talk all day long
That
because
was
of his
Lissa,
voice.
yeah.
Let me tell you, I live with this man and I love hearing him talk. Maybe not so much about business, but I do love to hear him talk, so I can relate, girl. And then another person and then another person asked if they heard parakeet. We have 10 of them, so yes, you did hear parakeets.
Yep.
Those are the 2 things.
And I even have the door shut.
Yeah, that's because mommy's up and she didn't open the cage yet this morning because we have a parrot that needs to come down and do his exercise this morning. Oh. And so we don't open the cage usually when he comes down for his exercise. Right. So
because he's a butt-in.
Yeah, he's a little brat, but Mr. Pickles, we love him. And so, yep, Robin. So, yep, we have 12 birds total. We have a Kana duck that's outside. We have Mr. Pickles, who is a parrot, and then we have our 10 parakeets. So,
now, didn't you put some videos out with the birds and you had like one that you were singing with or something?
I didn't put that out. And that was me.
Somebody did. But don't you have videos of the birds?
I sent you that privately.
Oh. Okay. Anywho, but then you do some regular videos of the birds?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some on my TikTok. I have a couple on my TikTok.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple on, what is that? The parakeet, Avery.
The Avery Project?
Yeah. YouTube, which I can get you a link for that.
Yeah, we used to live stream them. They had their own channel.
Damn, Johnny, that was private. I knew I saw some videos on TikTok. I remember that.
Yeah, she's got some on TikTok of the parakeets and the birds.
Good morning, Miss Denise. So yeah, if you want to see anything, follow her on TikTok, and you can see the videos there. Whew, threw myself right under the bus. Well, everybody, thank y'all so much. Again, Tommy, don't forget to go ahead and promote your channel and our things that you're coming up with. For those who may not know, because your information is in the description bar below. And if anyone that would like to see about getting their eBay store evaluated and possibly with a video on your channel, talk a little bit more about that before we end the show.
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Instagram, which it'll be The Bargain Effect on Instagram, or you can email at thebargaineffect@gmail.com if you'd be interested in having your store, I don't know what you want to call it, review, audited, just looked at. I'd be more than happy to do that for you.
All that information is in the description bar below if you need it. You can also reach out to him on Instagram, his email, his YouTube channel. All that is in the description bar below. You're welcome to reach out to him on those links. And see if you would like to get your eBay store reviewed, feedback, help you.
Yeah, just if you need general help or just have a question, you're stumped about something, just reach out. More than happy to help you.
Exactly. All right, everybody. With that being said, thank y'all so much. Again, we do this every Tuesday. Don't forget on Wednesdays is What Not Wednesdays Q&A with Anthony, full-time reseller. On Thursdays, it's Q&A all about Poshmark, and that's with Glamour's Closet. And every Friday is Q&A all about Etsy, and that's with Design Laurel. So definitely check them out, and all their information is going to be in all of the descriptions of all the videos, so you're always welcome to come out and check that out. So with that being said, like I said before, in each and every show, don't forget at 10 o'clock, if you're a member, we do have a members live at 10. So with that being said, like I said before, in each and every show, love always. Love is always free. Please be kind to one another till we meet into another chat. Have a blessed and fabulous day until we meet again. Later. Peace out.
Bye.